The Share Pickers Weekend Podcast with Justin, Paddy, Peter and Steve. The content of this podcast is not intended as investment advice. It is for information purposes only. People in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Welcome to the Weekend Podcast. I'm joined by Pete, Steve, and he's not dead. It's Paddy. Yes. All right, he's back from the dead. Yeah. Can't hold a good man down, even when he's dead. You know what I'm saying? Look at Jesus. In fact, very appropriate. Easter weekend. Happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter.
Strong start.
It is a strong start. I didn't realise I was tying in there. And we all know where the Easter egg comes from, don't we? Steve, answer.
Chickens.
That's it. The Easter egg comes from chickens. Jesus was a big chicken keeper, and he liked to keep chickens. And but some people said to me once, where does the Easter egg come from? And apparently, when Jesus was buried in that cave thing, they had a big ball, massive stone ball outside the cave. That was where the Easter egg come from. I thought, really? That's a big boulder. It's not an Easter egg.
Pretty sure that's not true.
I was going to say, has Fred's been educating you again?
Yeah. By the way, I should say to people listening, maybe who've just arrived, say, welcome to the UK. You are now an official resident of Rwanda. Yeah. How does that work? You must go there. Welcome to the UK. You are now official resident of Rwanda. What?
Yeah.
Rwanda, yeah. Lovely country. Gorillas in the mountains. Isn't that the UK?
When I first heard that today, I thought that would be something they'd backtrack on in like 24 hours, but like... Pussy Patel's already been over there and signed the contract, haven't they?
I read that. Well, I read it again. I thought, what? How does that? I don't understand how it works. Because it's like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane, isn't it?
What I want to know is, what if you're an immigrant from Rwanda?
Exactly. You go, it's a free ticket home. In fact, one of the CEOs I talked to is actually, his operations are in Rwanda. And Rwanda's come on amazingly since the genocidal wars happened. So it is a lovely country. But I suppose if you're looking to go to the 5th biggest economy in the world, and you end up in the 108th biggest economy in the world, then you think, well, it's not where I really want to be,
It's not even just that it's bad enough that they would send asylum seekers there to be processed, but they're also encouraging them to settle there. So it's not like they're just doing the paperwork there.
The processing thing is...
While you're here, you might... Why don't you just stay here?
Yeah. No, the processing thing is a red herring, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's not very efficient having a processing office 6,000 miles away from the country you're going into. When it's like, what? Why is the process? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So once you get there and you process, they probably say, right, how long does it take to get processed? They say, 3 years. Yeah. But by the time you get processed, you probably have a family here, so you may as well stay. It's lovely scenery. The economy's growing, everything's good. Really nice, yeah. And so it's nuts anyway. But before we get into politics...
I also thought it was... No, was it the land there? We take them over there and they go, right, yeah, that's it, processed, right. How do I get to the UK then? Yep, just get on a flight. Yeah, how much are the flights? 20 grand.
Yeah. Listen,
right.
How do you get to the UK? You're free to get into the UK now. How do you get there? You have to walk.
Exactly.
But hang on, my initial trip was less, didn't it? Yes, I know, yes. But be careful. Once you go in, you may need to get processed again. Come back to Rwanda. What the heck is going on? I spent my life going back and forth to Rwanda.
You get back, you've forgotten to get one of the stamps. Back you go.
Yeah. That's probably the thing they'll have, yeah. Oh, and do you have, finally, before you come in, sir, do you have the B7715 stamp? No. Oh, you don't have that form filled in, do you? Oh, okay. No, you're going to have to go back to Rwanda. It's like we're not round the corner, mate. What's going on here?
This is exactly what's been going on with the Ukrainians, though, isn't it? They've been making them trek all around Europe to get stamps and to pick up visas and to, stuff that you don't really want to be doing when you're escaping the war zone.
The processing office was in Brussels.
Yeah.
But you're going from a war-torn area, travelling across. You're leaving your father and husband there, never knowing if you're going to see him again, and you end up, in Dover, and they say, oh no, our processing office is in Brussels. What the heck is going on? We know what's going on, don't we? I mean, pretty much are saying, oh no, it is a bit slow. Yes, we do apologise for that. You know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing, and it's not on. And I, regardless of what party you're from, it's a shambles, and you're creating the shambles on purpose. We know it, don't we? It's an awful situation, but it's I don't know.
I didn't vote for it.
I'm recording, thanks.
Oh,
Yes, screen time.
What's going on?
Shut the door.
There's children.
Fred's coming in. Get out!
All right, Fred.
I'll process you in
Hi,
Rwanda.
Fred.
Yeah, it's Fred who wants to remove my screen. I will remove it. I've got screen time on there, and his friends don't have screen time. Dad, remove the screen time, please. Because that's the only
It's so embarrassing, Dad.
That's the only thing I can do to control the kids. That's my biggest bargaining tool is screen time.
You're pretty an embarrassing dad in general.
I would imagine so.
yeah.
What's the point of being a dad if you can't be embarrassing? You know, it's like, but literally these days, Fred is at the age of 12 where everything is embarrassing. You know, literally, I went for a haircut the other day, and I was waving at him through the windows. And he's literally almost dying in the room. I was standing through the window waving, "Oh, Fred!" and he said, "Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't!" And so I was trying to do this. Anyway,
You went for a haircut? Or he went for a haircut?
yeah.
Justin, that's a waste of time and money.
That reminded me once of a Benny Hill sketch where, do you remember Benny Hill used to have a little fellow on there who was bald, and Benny used to tap him on the head quickly,
Yeah.
and everyone used to laugh, laughter. He went in once for a hairdresser's. He's got completely bald, and the hairdresser was Benny Hill. And he just sat down in the chair. There was no words, but he just looked at his head, looked around, and in the end he got some boot polish out and just polished his head into a side parting. It wasn't that funny at the time. I don't know why I find it funny now. Hang on, let me shut the door. Oh, sorry.
Paddy, in your absence, you may have noticed things haven't changed much.
But that
I was
was,
going to say, I'm glad to see the podcast has moved on.
Hang on, I'm just writing that one down.
I suppose it's just Benny Hill there. I had to see how he acted it out. It was very good. Anyway, we can talk politics later, Pat, because I know every thing you tweet on the WhatsApp group or Twitter or text is full of Tory slagging off Tories. So
Well, I mean, to be fair, it hasn't been a great week for Tories, has it?
no. But do you think this whole thing here was a distraction from Partygate? Do you think that's what it was?
Well, apparently not. Apparently this was already in the pipeline and it was always going to happen this week. So it's just a fortuitous distraction from Partygate this time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you understand, Boris is never going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to drag him out. And in fact, Paddy had a sort of an economic sort of question on this. We'll ask that, but he's never going to leave. Do you know? We know he's a liar. We all knew he's a liar before we moved in, right? We knew that. Yeah. But this is my question here, Pad. Right? Sometimes, if you look at someone like Elon Musk, and we'll talk about him as well, he's a bit of a maverick. But mavericks tend to get things done, don't they? They don't stick by the rules. If you get an accountant in there doing the job, going by the rules and law, nothing ever gets achieved above normal. Do you know what I'm saying, though? Sometimes you need that kind of crazy character at the top. We know he's a liar. He won't tell you how many kids he's got, for heaven's sake. He's no transparency with Boris. People who thought they were voting in, a wholesome, honest man were kidding themselves. He's a liar. Like, Putin's a liar. He's a liar. The only difference is Putin's killing, millions of people or thousands of people. I don't think Boris is in that league because you did put him in that bracket, Pad, with Murdoch and Putin. But he's a liar. We know he's a liar. You're asking a liar.
Well, what's he achieving?
No, we're asking. Well, he's doing well with apparently Zelensky loves him. He's very charming, apparently, Boris, isn't he? And he is very charming. We met him.
Sure, he is. Yeah, but that doesn't make him a good leader.
Yeah, we met him on outside broadcast for Capital once, and he is very charming. If you see him on Have I Got News for You, that's pretty much partly how he got the gig. He's quite funny.
That's how he's got 17 kids. Yeah.
Yeah. But
he used to host Have I Got News for You?
Yeah, he used to host it, and he was quite good.
Now and again.
Because he's quite, he's a good, he's eloquent, and he's quite funny, isn't he? But and charm gets you a long way. And Elon Musk is like that. Charm gets you a long way, but don't count on anything else, pretty much apart from the charm. That's it. That's it we get with Boris, isn't it? Apparently he's a bumbling idiot. He's very, unorganised. He said, even as a mayor of London, people said he has no idea about organisation. Everything's everywhere. Desk is a mess, everything. He's got these big ideas, but of course, actually putting them into place and being organised about it, that's not his job. He'll just move on. He'll just go, let's get this done. You're the biggest country in the world. Who's getting it done? And so he will go for the big goals, like he wants to be, the sort of the IT capital or the startup capital of the world. You go for those big dreams, But as far as the minutiae,
he's just sort of constantly trying to build his legacy. He wants to be remembered for things, and that's why when he was mayor of London, he He brought in the buses, which were ridiculously over-designed and 12 times more expensive than a normal bus, but just so that could be his Boris bus. And the same with that stupid
Garden
bridge that he wanted to. Yes, £40 million down the drain on that was never going to start. Completely pointless thing. The cable car, £65 million that cost. No one uses it. Built this amazing piece of infrastructure between two places that no one ever wants to travel.
But I will say, but Pat, do you need these big dreamers? Because that's what he is. He's a dreamer, and dreamers
have a dreamer, but you also need someone next to them who's a detail person.
Yes, you do.
So his dream is Brexit, but the detail of Brexit is an absolute bloody nightmare, and the negotiation and the deal that they've done is absolutely awful because he never paid any attention to the detail, and it didn't matter. Like, just what's the big dream? What's the headline? What's to be the guys that's been remembered for Brexit?
I mean, look at Musk, right? Do you think that guy is good at admin work?
Well, someone in there is, because those spaceships are really sexy.
No, exactly, because he hires... No, but
he's got someone beneath him who actually is a detail. Boris hasn't got anyone beneath him who's detail. He's got just a bunch of absolute cretins.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, when you got Musk's sort of money and financing in your private company or public company, you can raise that kind of money to get the best of the best, I remember Jeff Bezos reading his autobiography or his biography, and the best advice he was given was interviewing the best candidates for the job and asking them who's the best guy you know in this sector. And you've got to hire the best people, and that's it. And once you get the best people, you become the best organisation. And so you
let's
need the
look
best
through the cabinet. Who are?
But no one's going. Nobody's. You're not looking at the best people in government, are you? I mean, the best people.
Is that too much to hope for? Is that not possible?
No, because
surely that's possible.
The best people are running organisations worth billions. They're not going to work for the government. In the past we've had politicians who at least understand their brief.
Yeah.
Now we've got Nadine Dorries, whose only brief it seems to be is just to destroy everything she touches to try and distract from Boris's latest screw up.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even understand how Channel 4 is funded, and then 6 weeks later she's flogging it.
No, I agree. And he needs someone he needs someone who can literally hire the best of the best and within their environment, because you're not going to get the best of the best in government. In other words, what they should be doing is getting business leaders in, a mix of the community, not just business leaders, of course, but the best from every sort of society, and getting them in there. And that's what you need to do.
But they had some good Tories. There were good Tory MPs and good Tory ministers, and they all got shunned because they wouldn't back Boris. And Cummings just went through with a scythe and just got rid of all of them. And now we're left with this dirge of just... I'm trying to think of words to describe them, which aren't swear words, but there are several hundred absolute idiots who are all there, and their only qualification for being a Tory MP is that they were loyal to Boris, and that's not a great.
No, I saw. Do you know what? I saw that pathetic. See it all coming together, tweeting the same thing on Twitter. All the Tory MPs. Awful. But I agree. Boris Johnson has apologised and all that. Okay, part of me thinks though. I know people are going to keep saying that, and it's awful. People, died during lockdown. They were on their own and they didn't have family. That is awful. I understand that. But to a certain extent, I don't know what happened at Downing Street. But are the rules different for the government? I suppose shouldn't they be, really? If you are the leader, well, you should be exactly the same. No.
This is the rule of law.
Do you honestly think?
No, let's go back to the exact definition of the rule of law.
I know, but listen.
The person setting the law has to live by the laws they set.
No, sod that. If you are in the highest government position in the country, right, you are a higher achiever. Do you think Elon Musk plays by the laws? No, he doesn't at all. He doesn't at all play by the laws. In fact, he's been sued at the moment by Twitter people because he's been filing the wrong sort of... do you know what he's doing? This whole thing about buying Twitter. Do you know what it is? It's a pump and dump. That's all it is. He's got a lot of stock in Twitter, right? He's offered a board seat. He turned it down because he didn't get on with the guys. And now he's saying, I'm going to buy it to raise the stock price. I don't get a guarantee, but I wouldn't be surprised if he dumps his entire stock. And do you know what? That's illegal. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
The share price hasn't moved today.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
I think he said no to the place on the board because there's a rule that meant that he would have had to have made an offer straight away or something, wasn't there?
Not 9%. No, normally it's like 10%. But he went. He had 9.2%. He filed with the SEC, and then he said, "Oh, I know. In fact, it's not that. It's 9.1%." So he filed that. And what's going on there? It's nuts. And he pumps cryptocurrencies. Unbelievable. It's like. This guy does not function by laws. He doesn't care, He does not care. He's the richest guy in the world. He doesn't care. So you need that. I mean, what I'm saying is to be a dreamer.
Do you need that?
No.
Why do we need that?
Well, how many geniuses do you know are or people who have done very well in life and created industries? Literally have been sticklers for the rule of law. They don't. You have to break down those barriers. That's how they see themselves. The law's there for normal people. I'm not a normal person. That's what they say.
That's democracy, though, isn't it? So if Boris Johnson wants to change the law or come up with a better law, he puts that to the people. We vote him in on that, and then he goes away and changes it. He doesn't just get to just bring in a law one week and then break it the next. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. That is.
Well, by all accounts, he walked into a room with a birthday cake there and a cup of glass of wine for 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah. And he did that again the next week, and the next week, and the next week. There was a constant party in that office. Everyone else was not doing that. And I know as it dragged on, people started to push the boundaries a little bit. But at the start, people weren't doing that. And everyone understood what the rules were. And everyone understood what we weren't and weren't allowed to do.
But I've heard arguments saying...
Whether in hindsight that made sense is a completely different matter. At the point, we all understood what the rule was.
Yeah, exactly. And you also got 600 students partying on the common somewhere, and things.
Yeah, and they got a £10,000 fine.
Not all of them did. The clever ones got away with it. But what I'm saying is, sometimes people who push the boundaries don't stick to the law.
I'm not sure that this is a boundary that needed pushing, and I'm not sure what we got out of it.
If he
pushed the boundaries and set up 50 new schools, then fantastic. But he pushed the boundaries to have a party. I mean, that's not really pushing. That's not really helping.
It's his birthday party. But the thing is, if you are Prime Minister, you're not a normal person, are you?
Well, ideally, you're someone who we can all look up to, not just someone who's in it for himself.
Well, do you know what? He won't go, though. I mean, he will not go, and that's the thing. And it doesn't matter what you say, he'll apologise and move on. And Zelensky loves him.
Of course he does.
Well, that's the main thing.
That is the main thing. I think it is. It's quite important, isn't it, really?
I think Zelensky's playing a very clever game.
Because let's be honest, Keir Starmer, right, would be bloody awful in this war. He'd be too worried about sticking to the rules, the law, and we can't give him that many, that many weapons because we'd be getting on the wrong side of Putin or something then, and we'd make enemies of them. We wouldn't have the forcefulness, would he? He'd be useless. I don't know what the answer is. It's not Keir Starmer. It's not Boris. I'm not a big fan of Tories. They get on my bloody nerves. And I will not vote for them next time round. I know that. But Keir Starmer's not the bloody answer. I know that.
I think Keir Starmer's a stepping stone, isn't he? Though
he's a stepping stone. Yeah, no. But I don't want
this bunch of clown.
I don't think he is. I think maybe he's
but he's just like if it's one or the other. If it's Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak and all these other idiots, or Keir Starmer and some people who at least have that fight.
Let's find somebody else within the party.
We need, in order for that to happen, we need parliamentary reform to allow someone else to get into power, because at the moment that's just impossible. Yeah. And in 2 years, somebody isn't going to be able to set up a party, have 650 MPs ready to go who are all vetted and normal people, and get into it's just not going to happen. So in the meantime, Keir Starmer is the only option. Let's just go with him.
But the fundamental problem here is people who want to be an MP and rule the country are flawed. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't find someone down to earth, quite charismatic, is a people of the person of the people, all that stuff. It's not going to tick all the boxes. So you're going to have to accept some flaws. Now, are those flaws that he's a boring person like Keir Starmer, but goes by the rule of the law? And again, he'd have been very slow on the lockdowns, all that stuff. He wouldn't have opened up. And now we're seeing how ridiculous some of the COVID rules were. And
hang on, 650 people died yesterday. It's...
650 people died of the cold and flu yesterday. It's like they will die. People will die. You can't. We have never had it. We've never had a disease tracked so accurately, as crazily on stats. That's why people fear it. And that was part of the plan, to get people fearing it. And we can't keep banging on like COVID. Anyway, stop.
I'm just looking for the Share Pickers podcast. Have I come to the right place?
Sorry, this is the.
So there was a reason why we were talking about this, wasn't there? I asked the question, which was.
Oh yeah, the question was. Sorry. Bring it back around. Well done, Pad. Bring it back around. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Pad.
Oh, hang on. I need to find my question. Let me just.
What's the question?
What was the question?
One moment.
The question was.
It was quite a while ago.
Don't take this. He said, "Don't take this as a political message." But if, for example, a country has a government whose only policy was to keeping themselves in power, what effect would that have on the stock market over the medium term? See, I think you're assuming it's Tories. They're not, though. I mean, I feel a lot of people are not going to vote. I'm not going to vote for Tories next time.
Well, no. So my question is, so this government aren't working hard to make our economy better. There's not a stream of policies in place which are there to benefit the people and to push the economy forward. Any growth in the economy seems to just be happening by the fact that British people are working hard to try and get stuff for themselves. There's no sort of like overriding government policy to make the economy better.
Aren't there?
So I haven't seen any. Name some.
Well, there's lots of funding for new and renewables and all that stuff, and there's, government backing and rates and all that reduced and all that stuff, isn't there?
I don't know.
We are the tech capital of Europe. We have a
we always
twice.
Have been. That's not
we twice as but it hasn't gone down.
To the Tories.
We are twice. Our investment, I think, is 2 or 3 times more than the second biggest capital investment. I think it's Germany somewhere. But so we're doing okay as a country. But what I'm saying is, put it this way: a government who wants to stay in power for a long time, would that affect the stock market? Well, look at China. Their economy is doing okay, and you can't use only one party there.
Okay, great.
But that's the only comparison I can come to.
That's not a good comparison.
But
so just take a look at Russia. Yeah, brilliant.
Right.
But Russia's economy has never been that good. It's oil and gas. He's killing the economy as well. In the end, as a democracy, we can.
North Korea seems to be okay.
Yeah. In the end, as a democracy, I mean, I genuinely think that the Tories are on shaky ground now, coming next, because there's a lot of this that sticks, a lot of this stuff that sticks. And I had quite a few people on Radio 5. A guy came on and a real go at the Tory party, and I thought, he's obviously a lefty Labour guy or something. And he said, I voted for the Tories last time. And Paddy, I'm your quiet keyboard.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Paddy's looking for policies now. But that's the politics. Pad, the political section of the podcast is finished now, I think.
Nat's just had a puncture, so I'm just trying to describe to her how to.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I thought it was politics. What were you using? I don't understand. Where is she? Paddy.
She's on the M6, I think.
Oh, she got a puncture on the M6.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Oh.
Well, tell her to fix a puncture on the M6. It's the same as it would be on the M5.
Yeah.
That's
called the AA.
Yeah, call the AA, exactly. Anyway, listen. So Elon Musk, right, got me thinking a little bit, right? And he just made a crazy offer for Twitter there, or $43 billion. And like you see, Twitter last year turned over $5 billion. So you can do the math on the sales there. Made a loss, It's making a loss of like 212 million, I think, is a loss. Is that worth it? I don't know. And someone said to me, I said, is that worth it? And a couple of people on Twitter said, yes, because he's got the ear of the world on Twitter. Or or imagine that as the marketing budget for Tesla. I thought, well, they can do that anyway now, can't they, for free? Yeah. Unless they rebrand it as Tesla, or have a permanent banner advert at the top of the Twitter feed with Tesla on it. I don't understand what else they could do. And he's got 18 million followers on there. Why would spending 43 billion help him marketing it? If anything, I think it'd detract from it. But what I thought was this, anyway, about buying businesses, right? It's a very good thing. I'll ask you a question, Steve, Pete, Pad, listen to this, okay? If you had 1 month, right, 1 month to sell all your stocks, right, and you could buy a majority holding in one stock, so if you sold the rest of them, you do you know what, I'm going to go all in on one of my stocks. And you imagine if you had enough money then to actually become a majority business owner of one of those companies you had. So you'd get rid of all of them apart from one. And by that one, you would be a majority holder, right? Which one would you hold on to?
Of the stocks we own?
Yeah. And so this is basically, what I'm saying is, you are going to be a business owner now. And it makes you think a little bit differently. Maybe not you guys, but I mean, there's a lot of guys who trade, or they jump in and out of stocks, or they just buy a stock. They have too many stocks. So you've got to make the difference now, but you realise, I've got to sell all my stocks, I've got to hold one stock. As a business, what actually do I want to hold? What do I think is going to serve me well? So, because your mind frame changes, isn't it? From a stockholder to actually a business owner, So what would you go for? Boys? Let me know.
Lloyd's Bank.
Do you still own? No, I'm talking about microcaps here. No.
Okay. Truthing's probably a bit of fun, isn't it? If you place to spin.
I'm not talking about fun. I'm talking about as a business owner.
If I'm a business owner, I want it to be fun.
G-Tech, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Hydrogen is the future.
Yeah.
Tricky one, but probably Europa Metals, I reckon.
Really? You still own that?
He probably still owns that.
Have they found any diamonds yet?
Yeah, they're still searching, yeah. One day.
But
friendly jurisdiction.
So okay, so it's a friendly jurisdiction.
Well, Spain.
That's it. Yes, Spain is quite. I don't know how friendly they are really to some tough English middle class guy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're building a mine in your country. That's lovely.
They certainly would have found diamonds in Africa or somewhere now, wouldn't they?
No, they're a friendly jurisdiction, but they just don't have any diamonds.
Yeah. Hola.
Lovely place to do business, but hopeless for minerals.
Yeah. Hola, easy build your mine easy. Hola, hola.
Knock yourself out.
Said, hola. Oh, they're very friendly jurisdiction here. I've just asked them if I can build a mine. They said, yes, hola, they said to me back. Wonderful. We'll crack on then. We'll build a mine. But no, seriously, so you go for pad truthing, yeah?
Yeah, I like the idea of having a few fingers in pies, you know?
Okay, let's keep it clean, yeah?
So do we have to stay with the stock forever, or is it just like?
Well, no, you are now. Steve, it's like your business. Your business is filming porn films. That business, that's you know full well what you do there is going to be around for a long time. There's always going to be a demand for skin flicks. So what I'm saying is you want to look at. So that's what I'm saying. I want to try and get your head into the mental mind frame of thinking, you're a business owner. What business would you want to own? And you could see would do very well for the next 5-10 years or to retirement, because it's the only business you're going to own. You are a business owner. What are you going to go for?
Oh, I don't know. I can't pin one down.
He owns 37 shares.
But Steve, think about it now. All of the stocks you own, I don't know how many you own these days. How many do you own now?
Well, I've probably got less than you, to be honest. I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's split really, because I see things like XPF factories are good business, but then like the future of hydrogen, like G-Tech, I don't know.
Yeah. So I think you have to weigh.
It's a hard question, really.
Yeah. I think you have to weigh up. Well, exactly. So if you had a month to do it, do you know what you do? If someone says, "Listen, this is it. You can only own one stock now." Let's say government came in, you only own one stock. That's it. You've got a month to divest everything else and invest.
So what would you do?
So no, what I do is this.
I wonder.
Would you split it between?
No, hang on a second. So Waite says this. Okay, is what I'm investing in going to be around for the next 10 years at least? Is it going to be growing for the next 10 years? Look at the management. Are they competent? What's the end market there? Is it growing? I look at the margins. What I'm saying is, you do a lot of research, wouldn't you? If you only are doing one stock, you tend to do more research than if you own 10, because it's like diversification, as Buffett calls it. Not diversification, diversification. So you diversify just to protect yourself from ignorance or some hits. Now, if you actually concentrated but did deep research because you knew you were going to own that business.
This is where I'm going to fall down, though, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the ticker? Yeah. So I would look at. I suppose I'd want a bit of risk because I want a bit of upside, of course, but I also want a bit of sensibility there. But Paddy's a good point there, truthfully, because you've got 4 businesses there. 2 are profitable, okay, and they're quite steady, stable businesses. Virtus and Oxygen are quite boring, but very good businesses. Like Oxygen is the government, invoice lending, pretty much. And as you know, if you've got a government contract, they last for like 5 years at a time. And they've got contracted revenue up the next 3 to 5 years. All their clients, they are the biggest in that sector. So and the Virtus is like it's independent financial advisors loaning money in there. So that's boring. It's good. They've also got the sexy side of like PlayStack gaming and Satago, which got to deal with Lloyd. So you've got 4 fingers really in the pie there. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's quite interesting there. That's a good one. See, green hydrogen, as yet, because it's early, there's still people saying it's too expensive. It's never going to be mainstream, green hydrogen. But there are the bigger guys saying, ploughing. Have you seen that guy he's a billionaire from Australia, yeah. He's saying it's the only clean energy. If we want to decarbonise, There can be no other way. We need to plough lots of money into this to bring the cost of it down, and that's it. Once you get mass adoption, it'll be, on the equivalent cost as oil and gas and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's still a bit of risk there, but when you think of it, there's all different types of hydrogen. Of course, there's the blue, the brown, the turquoise, all this stuff, depending on where you get the power from. But green is the only actual clean, 100% clean energy. And if you want to save the planet, that's the way forward, isn't it? When you think, I know the others are, I think blue at the moment, blue is basically, oil and gas companies are carbon capture, and they produce hydrogen and they capture the carbon side of it. But of course, some will sneak out, won't it? Some carbon will sneak out, and also you're mining oil and gas. So it's a little bit dirty. So if you want to go for 100% clean, renewable energy, green hydrogen is the way forward. So yeah, it's got to be the winner, isn't it? Really? Unless we want to kill the planet, it's got to be the winner at the end of the day. And but also XP Factory, I think they're going to be a big company in the leisure space. They are the fastest growing leisure business in the UK. They are now, generating cash, so they haven't got the risk of, will they need to go back to the market? If they do, it'll probably be for an acquisition like Flip Out, which is they got an option to buy Flip Out. And I take the kids to Flip Out all the time. It's always busy. Hundreds of kids screaming around and bouncing. I hate that. It can be, show you the video at the start. Do not jump on other people's trampolines. Not all of a sudden, I'm getting ready for a front flip or back flip. I can still do that at my age. Still quite impressive. And some kid just jumps on my trampoline, some 4-year-old. Get off my trampoline, fella, okay? Have you not seen the warning video? And just don't care, little kid, just run across the trampoline, don't they? Idiots. Look at the health and safety video. Fred's saying to his parents, has he watched the health and safety video? I'm going to say he's 4. I don't care if he's 4. He needs to watch the health and safety video, That's I could kill him. I'm doing a perfectly good backflip here, can land on his head. But no, they have...
You're a barrel of laughs to go out with, aren't you?
Yeah. So anyway, they have the option to buy Flip Out. And I think there could be very significant leisure business going forward, So there's lots of options there, I don't know. But what I'm trying to get across to people, essentially, is when you own a share, it's a share of a business. It's not just a share you can trade online. And the trouble is, the ease, the liquidity, the shares offer you tends to make people worry on dips and just sell. It's a business, for heaven's sake. Then just sell it. What are you doing? It's improving. It's getting better. It's growing. Why are you selling it? Because, there's a war in Ukraine or something. It doesn't make any sense. How will that affect escape rooms in the UK? Doesn't make any sense, does it? How does that affect, invoice lending in the UK? That doesn't affect that. If anything, it helps it. So, yeah. So what I'm saying. I mean, is your headspace in the space of owning a stock, a share, or is it in the headspace of being part business owner? Paddy, Pete, Steve. That's the question.
Paddy.
It's definitely not in the headspace of being a part business owner. I would feel I'm more interested in some than others.
Yeah.
I feel closer to Polarian than I do to XP Factory. Maybe it's just the logo. I don't know, but there's a reason. For some.
It's quite deep there. It's not about analysing people's lungs for diseases. It's about the logo.
I've just never fully got on board with this XP Factory name. That's what it is.
Right.
But it's a good business.
I think it sounds big. I think Escape Hunt sounds, it's a brand. Now we got, Boom Battle Bar. By the way, if you're listening to this and you're now in the vicinity of Exeter or Ipswich, you can now book Boom Battle Bar. It's open. Have fun, throw darts, axes, scuttleboard, drink cocktails and street food at Ipswich and Exeter.
They opened that quick, didn't they?
Is that the ad? It's a bit ropey, that ad.
Do you think? I thought it was quite good. It's quite down with the kids, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the voice of the...
In fact, saying down with the kids is not down with the kids, is it?
Why are they using a Welsh accent in Exeter?
Yeah, that voiceover sounds really cheap.
So, you've amended that advert. Are you from Exeter? All right, come down to Boom Battle Bar and throw an axe at your mate.
Is that the newer one?
That's the new one. That's the new one. I thought that was better.
Where are you getting these from?
Does Ipswich have an accent?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Suffolk.
I've never been to it. Have you ever been to Ipswich? I've never been there. Have you ever been there?
I have. It's very dull.
Is it?
I went to the opening of radio.
Hello to all our listeners in Ipswich.
The only time I remember actually mentioning Ipswich was when Dave ex-CEO of Red Dragon, went to run a station in Ipswich.
That was the one.
And there was a serial killer in Ipswich, and we decided to text him saying, "Oh, Dave, it's not you, is it?" Because he just moved there, and there's a series of murders. And we kept texting him. We were out drinking, when we said, "Dave, it's not you, is it?" "Oh, it's dreadful. That is awful if it's you." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Where were we? We were out in Cardiff, I think, weren't we? I think, yeah. And Dave was there. Anyway, that's the only thing I can remember. But I've never been to Ipswich. Pat, you been to Ipswich?
Yes. Yeah, I've been to a few football games there.
Oh, the Tractor Boys. That is a brilliant tangent to this podcast. Pat, have you ever been to Ipswich?
No, but they are. I explained last week. Paddy, did we listen to the podcast last week, Paddy? But they are franchisees. No. Those two there. Okay. And of course, I did explain franchisees are a brilliant model. If you've got a business that's working, because there's no capital outlay. You know, people pay you to take your logo, to take your equipment, to run by your rules, and then you have a revenue share. It's like, wow, that's amazing. You know, it's like just having your own currency, essentially, isn't it? People come up to you saying, "Can I have some of your pounds to spend? Because I haven't got any currency. You've got currency. So yeah, you can have that. Yeah, but you have to pay me for this currency, and then you have to give me a revenue cut of every deal you do." It's like, wow, that's amazing, isn't it? But of course,
Pretty good.
But in key locations like the O2, Oxford Street, places like that, Lakeside, you own them. You know,
You want those big ones yourself, really.
Yeah, that's it. But
Let them have Ipswich.
Yeah. But I noticed.
Cleethorpes.
Yeah, Cleethorpes. Yes, Cleethorpes, all that. But I mean,
When are we going to the one in Oxford Street?
well, exactly. Someone said to me recently, right? Said Oxford Street. It's taking a bit of time, isn't it? But they've announced Q2. It's going to be launched in Q2. You know, and someone said, "Oh, they're having a problem getting a license and stuff." I've heard there's no problem getting a license. I don't know if you've, I don't know who mentioned this, but I don't know if you're aware, in London, there are quite a few bars that get licenses. It's quite busy, isn't it? And what I like about the Oxford Street, it's a massive 15,000 square foot, right in the heart of Oxford Street there. But it's like, London when I first lived in London, I realised it was a very different place to the rest of the country, because I shared a house initially with Aussies and Kiwis, when I first moved to London before Capital. This is like 4 years before, or 8 years before Capital. And I tried to explain to them that London was not like the rest of the country, because it was very multicultural. I think you could go to the West End and people were partying every day of the week. I thought, that doesn't happen where I'm from. People go out on a Friday or Saturday, that's it, So you have these boom battle bars on the regions, and they're very busy on the weekend, jam-packed busy on the weekend, but weekdays are a bit slower, But in Oxford Street, it'll be busy every single day. There's someone celebrating something or going out for drinks every single day, isn't there? Paddy will attest to this. Isn't it, Paddy? There's always a party in London, isn't there? Every day of the week.
Well, yeah. I mean, less
not
so
Croydon.
now, I think.
No, but it's getting back to
I
it.
think less so now.
Yeah, but no,
yeah.
That's because of COVID.
Every night of the week it's a party.
Yeah, but that's because of COVID. Surely people are coming back in now, People are getting, going back to the office, aren't they?
Yeah. It's still not the same. It's not the same, but it's definitely getting busier.
But hang on, how often? I'm not just trying to defend what I'm saying here, but how often do you actually go into central London these days?
A couple of weeks ago, I was in every day for 3 or 4 weeks.
Is it getting busier there? People. It's
definitely getting busier. It's not. It's still nowhere. It's not like that sort of. It's not the same crush as it used to be. I guess some of that's down to not as many tourists. Maybe there are. I mean, it's definitely a certain proportion of people that aren't staying around. And I think people are timing their runs a little bit as well, so it's not like everyone leaving at the same time every time. You'll notice that the bars are busier on a Friday, but.
I'm not saying
Friday.
But
it's definitely noticeably quieter in the evenings earlier in the week.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying Friday Saturday isn't the busiest. I'm just saying you get a lot more footfall weekdays in London than you will on a regional town, probably.
Yeah, I've really struggled to find restaurant bookings available, so it definitely is coming back.
Oh, restaurant bookings here, Paddy. Tell Paddy's got another half now, hasn't he? Restaurant bookings. Normally, it's got a bar, just see where we end up. Now, I'm definitely struggling to get a restaurant booking these days. It's very difficult for a restaurant to sit down with the other half.
But maybe that's just the sort of restaurants I go to,
Yeah, but you can't book in Wagamama's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised McDonald's take bookings. Yeah.
Excuse
Maybe
me.
that's why I'm struggling.
Excuse me. Can I take your order, please? Yes, we'd like to book for 7 p.m., please. What?
You can in McDonald's. You just pick up one of those little triangle things with a number on. That's like booking, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm on table 11. I'll go there. That's it. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll bring you.
Have you got any candles?
Yeah, candles. Anyway, so what I'm saying is about.
What are you saying?
Right, so you're a business owner. Try and think of that way, and that way you won't get so scared by share prices going down. You know.
But I don't.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah,
the ones you just
please.
mentioned there, the ones you just mentioned, like Paddy Truffin, Pete G-Tech, Steve Europa Metals, are they your biggest holdings?
No.
Why not? If you were going to say if I owned a business, only one business, that would be it. They should be your biggest holding.
Yeah, I just didn't want to talk about XPF.
Actually, no. It is my biggest holding. Yeah. There you go.
There we are. Well, listen, they'll come out with the commercial agreement now with Lloyds very soon. That'll pump the price up. Then you get other things happening, other well-known names probably. James is a lovely guy. I believe him. He honestly was very enthusiastic to me on the podcast afterwards, and he did say, "I do think it could be a unicorn. I genuinely do." Last time Lloyds invested in a company called, I think it was Mind. I can't think what it was called now. Then last time Lloyds invested in a small cap company, it's gone on to become a unicorn. And he said, and Stargo has more wide-ranging, bigger market. So he thinks Stargo on its own, it could become a unicorn, and in fact the broker now values it 3 times the value of Stargo, even with the other 3 businesses, and that's not including PlayStack, which is doing very well. Okay, so
Actually, no, it's not my biggest holding. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button.
Oh,
that's Harry and
It's
Larry.
my second. It's my second biggest.
Oh yeah. But
okay.
why? Explain why XPS is my biggest holding. I've probably explained. I think there's the risk, of isn't there of them going back to the market. They're generating cash. The growth is excellent, and the potential is excellent. And I like the management. They can write a good RNS, and they're very sharp. They've got very good experience.
Apart from when they have a typo in the top first line.
Yeah, ignore that. It's not a big deal, is it? Hey,
No, they're a great company. I'm not talking them down. I do like their logo and their name, and they write good.
Yeah, little tip to all CEOs writing RNSs: just copy and paste it into a Word document or Google Docs, and it'll bring up the spellings for you. Perfect. I often fall by that thing there, but yeah. So anyway, and do you know what? And also, if you're investing where we are in microcaps, they're new companies. You have to give them time. You have to give them time, and I'm talking about 3 to 5 years here. Because I did that gear analogy, the car gear analogy on the Weekend Live podcast. Year one is pretty much, after year one, EBITDA positivity. After that, it's, operating profit. After that is a pre-tax profit, and then then it starts to really move. So and also, as a bear market or recession doesn't last as long as 3 to 5 years. So you go through the business cycle, whatever happens. And if the business is still improving, the share price is going down, you won't sell, you buy more. So business is improving, so what? So the only worry at the moment, what's your biggest worry, boys, as far as the stock market is concerned?
Just stagnation, really.
Stagnation?
I'd like to stagnation. I just like to see some of these. I'd just like to see one just go up.
But do you know why it's not, though?
He's had an all right couple of weeks, Pat. I have anyway.
I mean,
Do you know why it's not, though?
enlighten me.
Well, you must know why it's not going up, surely.
Well, yeah, but so when
What's
the war
the biggest?
ends,
No. But what is the biggest? In one word, what is the biggest worry the markets have at the moment?
Rwanda.
Sure, but there's always something, isn't there?
Inflation.
Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Welcome to Rwanda. You are now a UK citizen. You should have that. A guy there from Rwanda dressed in a Union Jack suit. Welcome to Rwanda. Yeah?
I just sort of feel that ever since I invested, there's always been something, and we've always been sat here going, "Well, when that ends, it's all going to be fine." When that ends, it just as soon as this thing ends, there'll be something else.
Yes, but hang on. I got the hostess and mostess here.
Screen time, Dad.
That's just a voice.
So they can't see me naked.
No, they can't see you. She says naked. She's wearing Wellington boots. It's okay.
I've just lathered up with my Victoria soap.
Oh, there we are.
She doesn't know we're recording, does she?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, she did it on purpose. No, but Pad, we've been doing this podcast over 6 years, right? And your portfolio value, if you invest from 6 years, it's gone up. But we have had, let's be honest, phenomenal news and occurrences happened once every, literally, inflation at this level happened 40 years ago, okay? Pandemic like this happened 100 years ago, and they've come in sync together, and yet we're still invested. We're still invested. You know what? We can invest through this, we can get through this. We look back on this time, we'll say, we invested through a pandemic, through the biggest inflation in 40 years, through a major European war where essentially it was World War III pretty much, because you've got all the rest of the world on one side, Russia, almost China and India, big quiet partners, and North Korea. But we invested through that. But of course, we're going to see volatility and compression. Inflation is the biggest problem, you see, inflation is. But it will stabilise, inflation. That's the biggest problem. And also, I think there's two things that are going to happen soon. Of course, there's May the 9th, which is the Heroes Parade in Russia, where Putin gets up every year and boasts about fallen war heroes that are killed, took over, because they claim they defeat the Nazis. The Russians say they defeat the Nazis on their own. They don't acknowledge anyone else, pretty much. They say, so they'll go, every May the 9th, they say, do you remember, in World War II we defeated the Nazis, we've just done it again in Ukraine. That's where it'll end. He wants to boast about something, he can do it on live TV, state TV, even though he's getting his ass whipped in Ukraine. He'll boast about that on thing. That'll ease off the markets. Inflation will stabilise. Why will it stabilise? It's just maths. And I'll ask you a question here. Steve, I'll put this question to you, okay? On a maths question, okay?
Okay, this is going to be good.
God.
The biggest input for inflation, right, is energy. It plays into every aspect of the economy, into living, everything, okay? So let's say a barrel of oil has gone from $50 to $100 since January 2021, okay? What percentage rise is that? Stephen, from 50 to 100. What percentage rise is that?
100.
100%. That's right. Now, is oil likely to go from $100 to $200 in the next 12 months?
You asking me that now?
Anyone?
Well, it's
Say
possible.
yes.
Probably not.
Someone's doing some research on the heavy keyboard, on the loud
No,
keyboard.
I'm going to go in with no.
Just want to look at some context.
What's the context you're looking for?
Well, what's happened over the last 6 months?
Well, put it this way:
I don't
Russia.
keep an eye on the oil
put it this way, right? Russia supplies. How about just look up how much of the world's oil Russia supplies, and that'll put in context. 3%, right? So there's more worry about the rising price of oil. So I'm saying it's highly unlikely. Let's say it even goes to $150, right? From $100, how much is that increase?
What, from 50 or from 100?
From 100 now, so we've gone from 50 to 100, there's 100%. Now it goes to $150 from 100. How much is that?
50.
That's 50. So do you know what? How much is that a drop in rise, Steve, in actual surge?
What?
So you've gone from 100% rise to a 50% rise. I don't think it'll go anywhere near that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if we start to see inflation stabilising or dropping off, and stabilising means the growth isn't as big as last time round, so we'll have inflation figures out next month, right? They won't be as high as last month because we've had the big rise. So the stabilisation will happen. It's pure arithmetics, So the higher the prices go, of course, people's wages go up a little bit, not to the point where you can afford things, of course, but the big rise has happened. So the percentage gain will be less. So they'll say, okay, inflation has now stabilised. What happens after that then is that it'll start coming down. That is the big worry with the stock market, is that when will inflation stop rising? Do you know what? We're probably at peak inflation right now. Really, so that's when...
Found the context.
Go on.
So, in the year 2000, what was the price of Brent crude oil?
Well, I know what it was. Look at the chart. So if I go back to January 2021, Brent crude oil futures were trading around about $53.
So per barrel, it was $28. It says here.
Oh, that was April back down there. Yeah. So you can exactly. So it's even more. So it's done like what 200% rise. Is it going to do that again? No. So the rise percentage change is going to come down. And in fact, if you look at Brent crude chart, which I've got right here on the chart there, it's topping out. It's literally hit 140. It's now 104. So it's topping out. So if anything, the fear is priced in. The rise is not going to be as fast as it was. And so it's going to come back, and eventually.
I guess the other thing is with energy, like with more and more countries being able to be self-sufficient through renewables.
They're accelerating that, yeah. Do you see that? The acceleration, the quadruple. Do you see the EU the other day? They're quadrupling their investment in renewables to get off oil and gas in Russia. Now it's not going to happen overnight, but it'll happen. We'll all become a bit more independent on energy, and a bit more in control about energy prices. So. And also, just in simple terms, the AIM market and also other markets are in a bear market. How long does the bear market last? Around about a year to 18 months. We've now been in one for pretty much 8 months, but that is from peak to trough and when it gets back up. So we'll bump it on the bottom now for a bit. But we've seen the bounce in most of our stocks. XP Factory, for example, has done 35% from the low, right? That's a bounce from the low. It may have to go sideways for a while, but we see that stabilisation in inflation figures. It'll start rallying. What happens after a bear market? A bull market. Doesn't go from. So first of all we need to get down. The trend needs to stop going down. It has. We've had the bounce off the oversold level. Now it may need to go sideways for a while, but soon a bull market will happen. Do you know why? Because people's weight. This is the way it works. Inflation. Okay, prices have gone up. People can't afford to buy things. They'll stop buying things. The economy will slow down. Okay, and then you get people that can't afford things. They'll, pressure their employers for pay increases. Then energy prices will come down. Okay, but they're not going to take the wages off you then, are they? So the more spending power will come forward, and you have renewables that will bring down the cost of oil and gas anyway. And then all of a sudden you've got more spending power that will fuel the bull market. And so we are in. Next year or so, we're going to have a bull market, boys. So just hold on tight. Don't sell anything at the bottom. That's the worst thing to do. We're going to have another, give it, say, we're bumping on the bottom, but give it a little bit of time. And you just strap in, and we'll be rallying again for next 5 years. Bull markets last for 5 years. Of course, they're not straight up. They last for 5 years at least. And they come down for a year and a half, and they go back up for 5 years. So a bull market is round the corner, I say around the corner, it's not a week away, but this is not the time to sell. We're just off the bottom. And microcap stocks, they may be down 50, 40, 30%, whatever they are, 60%, but they move very quickly and they can be valued at multiples of where they are, and they move the fastest because they need very little liquidity. It's like a funnel, So, in fact, how you get, Paddy will know this because he's into DIY and stuff, but how you get, a little bit of water, the shower heads, how they can create a lot of pressure from very little water. How does that work?
By changing the size of the pipes?
Yeah. So that's the way liquidity works in markets. So basically, you put in, if you run, water from a tap, a normal tap, not a lot, the water's coming out nicely there. It's not going to blow your hand off though. But you can put that through a shower, a water-saving shower faucet, and it constrains and it makes the pipe smaller and smaller, so the pressure increases. Now that's the same with microcaps. All you need is a little bit of liquidity, and microcaps move very quickly, a lot faster than any other market. So even though you may be down 50, 40, 30%, it can shoot beyond. It can regain those losses very quickly. Do not sell at the bottom. You're insane. If you're in a good business, it's growing, it's fairly valued, it's going to rally. You're going to make lots of money in the next 3 to 5 years. Don't worry about that. That's the business cycle. And, we'll be laughing, guys. We'll be sitting here in a year, 2 times and, do you remember we went through a pandemic, a European war, historical high inflation, and look where we are now. Again, we didn't worry, we didn't sell, and we're sitting pretty.
Great. Sounds good.
I look forward to it.
Good.
Bingo.
Bingo bongo. Anyway, Anything else worth chatting about, Pat? Did you have something else on the old WhatsApp group?
No, that was it. I was just talking about my back squats. Only got 2 sets done, so
Your back squats.
my back squats, yeah.
What are back squats?
That's where you put the barbell on your back and squat.
Do you get bored with your training regime?
No, I try and keep it varied.
Do you?
Do you get bored with people asking you about your training regime?
Or Justin.
Yeah.
No, but I do, see. I've gone this week, the last couple of weeks, to be honest, it's been half term. I wish the kids would get back to school. God, bloody hell.
Is it half term or it's Easter holiday, no?
It's holiday, yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. All I know is they're home a lot of the time. So I said to Megan, why are the kids home?
Yeah.
So who are these people in my house?
Yeah. So it's Easter holidays. What? Again? We had the holidays a couple weeks back, didn't we? So why can't we get them off that place we sent them to? School was shut. I don't care. There's more room there for them. But yeah, so I know. But so I've used that as an excuse not to do many exercise. I've been very good recently. Up until that time, 5 days a week. Running, push-ups, resistance, dumbbells. But I'm getting really bored with it now, Pad. I don't know what to do.
Well, the trick is to keep it. I've had a period of the same being like I've had a lot of stuff going on those last few weeks, and I've had a few injuries, and it's hard to stay motivated sometimes. But
well, I can tell you from the flip side, I've not been doing any exercise probably for the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I feel terrible. So that's why you do it.
It does make a difference. I've really, my body has changed shape in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I look like a flabby old man.
Yeah,
no, not in a good way.
Whereas I'm sat here with a pack of 5 custard donuts.
Pack of 5 custard donuts. Oh, Steve,
wow.
He's really fallen off the wagon, Steve. There, but listen,
and it's our second packet of the week as well.
No, but is it worth?
No.
I know I'll get back to it. Right, it's a second pack this week. 5 custard donuts.
Yeah, 10 custard donuts.
10?
That's how it works out. 2 packs.
Isn't that odd though? Because it's very easy. It comes in unison, doesn't it? When you stop exercising, you tend then to eat a lot less healthy, and then it almost snowballs. But Steve, listen. The innerst part of me thinks, don't beat yourself up about not doing exercise sometimes, because sometimes you need that break and to get a bit slobby to give you the motivation to get back on it, because it's hard to just keep it going. Literally, I'm on a treadmill every day, pretty much, and it is a treadmill. It's boring. I do watch stuff I quite like on TV, but it is a treadmill. Sometimes you need that break, to
and
give you motivation. Do you?
And when I'm in a proper full-on exercise kind of in my routine, I then feel guilty about eating things like donuts because I feel like I'm ruining it. Whereas when I'm not exercising, I don't feel like I'm ruining it because.
Let me ask you a question then. And where is this guilt? Because we do have guilt as humans, right? Because I do that. If I don't exercise, I feel guilty, and if I leave it for a while, I eat rubbish, I feel guilty. So where does guilt come from? Is it hardwired into our soul, or is it just from social or peer pressure? Where does it come from?
My God, that's a very deep question. An hour and 4 minutes into the podcast.
But no, because it's a good thing to a certain extent, isn't it? But sometimes I've listened to. I highly recommend. Again, I keep recommending this podcast. We're on to recommendations now, guys.
Right.
Stephen Bartlett, the new Dragon's Den, who's really give a bit of impetus into, his Dragon's Den was down on his backside a little bit, Deborah Mead. Deborah Mead, and she was there, but Stephen brought a bit of life back into it, and he was talking to, on his podcast, who was it, Fern Cotton. And she was saying that she has to work all the time, and she said sometimes you have to take, a bit of compassion for yourself, and don't worry about me feeling guilty about not working and all that. And it's true, isn't it? Sometimes I find it very hard to enjoy. If I go on holidays, I hate it. I hate it. I'm sitting there, I took a picture, right? And it was a picture postcard, photograph of palm trees, blue skies, unbelievable beach, having a cocktail. I was bored senseless because I want to do some work. This is just making me fat. I'm just, where does that come from, that guilt? But sometimes you should enjoy that, shouldn't you? Because you realise you'll be dead soon. What's the point? Working out non-stop. You'll be dead soon. Doesn't matter. Where does that come from, the guilt, though? The guilt. By the way, another one worth listening to is not Johnny Wilkinson. I find Johnny quite boring, do you? Have you ever listened to him talk?
He's an
amazing achievement.
bit try.
Yeah, a bit try. Callum Brady is quite a good one. She really confidence tricked herself. She was 23, right? She convinced the guy to buy Birmingham City. And she decided to run it. It was on near bankruptcy. And she decided to say, I can run it. He said, you're kidding? It's a very male-dominated sport. You have to be twice as good as males to get on, but other people won't take to you. And he said, well, it's not hard, I'll do that. But she has almost self-inbuilt confidence doing it, you know. I didn't warm to her too much, but one of these people was driven to do things. But even at West Ham, so she turned up to West Ham, and this guy said to her, the security guard, sorry, love, he said, no, he said, footballers' wives and directors' wives around that entrance. He said, well, I don't think you understand. It's around that area. She said, no, I don't think you understand. I'm the managing director. He said, all right. But, it's good to listen to that. But Fern Cotton seems she's achieved a lot in life, Fern Cotton. She's very good, I thought, on Radio 1. And yet she has an issue with happiness, you know? And that's an issue, isn't it? And Stephen Bartlett as well. Amazing guy, 28, sold his company, £300 million he sold his company for, I think it was. But he often posts about feeling, he said the saddest time of his life when he sold his company. He was working like all the hours God sends. He sold it for an amazing figure, and he's come from nothing pretty much, being skint as a kid. And the saddest day of my life was when I thought I'd be so happy, we sold it. I made loads of money. I sold it. I was so unhappy. Where do I go from here? It's almost like the journey is better than the actual destination. But Anyway, any recommendation, boys? That podcast is worth listening to. You have to skip through some of them. Some of them boring. But that good one. Did you listen to that analogy last week, Pat, about gold medals and silver medals? That was good.
Yeah.
That
was great.
So if only and as if mind frame. So at least, and if only. Anyway, any recommendation, boys? TV, books, podcast.
I've started watching that, and Pete has as well, I think, the Beatles documentary.
Oh, I loved it!
You know what?
I bloody loved it!
It's like
good.
Big Brother.
But it does get like I'm only on the first episode. Is it three parts? Isn't it?
Some of them you have to. Some of them you have to scroll.
Yeah, I say I'm starting a little bit, but Yoko Ono, what a weirdo!
Yeah,
like probably just sitting there knitting in their rehearsal session, but not even just to the side. Literally right in. It's like the circle of them rehearsing, and she's in. Just bizarre, isn't it?
Well,
and
people
saying
blamed.
nothing.
Yeah, people
saying nothing. Yeah,
Steve, people blamed her right for the breakup of the Beatles. I could see why that was because there was no other boyfriends, girlfriends, or no other girlfriends there, wives there. Apart from her, sitting right next to John, close as could be.
Linda turns up later.
Yeah, a little bit, but she's taking photographs. She's more artistic.
She bring a sausage sandwich.
Yeah, but she's more taking and standing off a little bit. Yoko has no idea that they're a group. They're working very closely. The chemistry, and just have no. She's so not discerning in that respect. They're thinking, love, give them a bit of room. They're the biggest selling band in the world. They need to create something. And you were sitting next to her, knitting and talking into his ears. Like,
but he wanted her there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
She was his muse.
Yeah, he was so
wanted
attached.
her creativity.
Yeah.
Like it was the same with George and the Harry Krishna guys in the corner.
Yeah, yes. Do you know what I wanted to say about? Do you know what I wanted to say about it, Steve? Some of them drag a little bit, right? But what Paddy said there about Big Brother, it's almost true because you feel like you're in the room with them. And I was doing stuff on the computer. I was playing in the background. And now and again, I'd sort of switch in and out of it. But this amazing, honest loss. When it finished and it ended.
Yeah, I really missed it.
Do you know what? The one thing I'm actually like blown away by is the restoration bit, especially when you sent that clip of how that they actually made software to basically replicate their voice because their voices were lost within the guitars and stuff when they were doing their rehearsals.
Yeah.
And you look at them. Half the time, they're not even in front of a microphone. It's like it sounds like they're like in a studio, and I'm like, you're like, wow,
but
it's incredible. What they've done.
But there's so many things that get me about that. I loved about it. Firstly, it was like the equipment was, and the engineers was going along, just making things up to alter this a bit, or do, and the equipment looked crap. The studio was crap. It was like put together. They were just building it and putting stuff in, or stick that there, or whatever. Like, can we try this, Mike? Or just messing around. They were experimenting as they were going. I thought, in this day and age, it's almost like it wasn't a proper studio. It was like they're just trying to, should we just put that there? It was ad hoc, wasn't it? And I think in this day and age, there are these amazing studios you go into. They're super set up for it. But also,
in that first episode, when they were all like, was it Paul McCartney was talking about they were trying to get an 8-track and they couldn't get an 8-track because only 4-track was available. And you think now you can get a computer which has as many tracks you want, and they're like literally
this is
searching
Ivan,
UK
Ivan can build it for you. Ivan can build it for you, but it may not be that good. This is one of the biggest bands in the world.
I know.
The way it's changed now, and the fact how down to earth they were, with the people just bringing tea and coffee in. This day and age, you wouldn't be allowed in the same room as Beyonce. It's like it's completely different, isn't it? The egos these days because of the money. But even though the colorization was amazing, all that stuff was super. The one thing that got me beyond anything was the chemistry they had. The amazing, obviously invisible touches, create tunes and riffs of nothing, and they knew what each other were doing. There was a couple of arguments because George wanted to come forward a little bit and do bits, and Paul told him to step back and say, you are an music musician on your own. With the Beatles, it's John and Paul. But Paul, to me, I always thought, I went from the stage where I thought Paul was the original. When I was younger, I thought Paul was the genius. Then I went through the stage where I thought John is the genius. And watching that now, Paul seems like the driving force. But I mean, the invisible chemistry they have just to create tunes was phenomenal. There's no theme to it.
Lads, you've got 2 weeks to write a whole album. That seems impossible.
Yeah.
And the quality of the songs that came out of that 2 weeks were...
Ed Sheeran would be able to do it. You just listen to a couple of other tracks and rip them off.
Yeah. But it's just how I did show a clip on Twitter where Paul McCartney is doing get back, he's just strumming, and it sort of builds a little bit, and then Ringo starts to clap, and then George just comes in on the bass, and he just builds, and they say, later on they said, if you can't think of a word, just put anything in, like pomegranate, and so they just build on it, and then all of a sudden, come on, massive hits. And that is genius. I mean, you're almost witnessing genius there. And so you'll come away from it, Steve. Parts of it drag, but I literally found myself looking for other bits on YouTube afterwards because I almost I was in the house on my own with Megan was away in Centre Parks, but I felt like I was actually in the room with him, like Big Brother. It was like I was a fly on the wall. I loved it. I mean, I absolutely loved it, and that was like footage no one knew existed for a while. And of course, Peter Jackson, one of the Jackson 5, directed it.
You even look at it, and it doesn't look like it was filmed in the 60s, is it? Was it? Yeah,
no, that's colorization. But do you see that, though?
70s.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, the Beatles YouTube channel, they show the recovery of the clips, and it's gone from washed-out colours to really vivid, proper colours. And how do they do that? It's phenomenal, using AI technology. But yeah, highly recommend. Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. So highly recommended. Get Back, the Beatles.
Okay, that's great.
I'd laugh that copper though. It was very official at the start, at the bottom of when they did that gig on the roof there, and he came in and said, "Right, this is not needed, is it? It's not necessary." And he went upstairs and he wouldn't approach him and switch it off. But he wouldn't go and say, "Right, stop." He wouldn't do that. He just stopped and watched. They just disappeared in the end. Highly recommend. Anything else, boys? That's it. I think we're doing enough.
That's it. That's plenty.
That's enough.
This is like a Beatles documentary. Each one of those is about 2.5 hours. They're a feature film on their own, aren't they? Each one of them. So I didn't realise that's how long they were. But I really was engrossed. Lovely. Thanks, boys. Last weekend.
Happy Easter.
Bye.
Happy Easter.
Bye.
Happy Easter. Yeah, bye-bye.
Tonight Jesus dies.
That's it.
No, he's dead, Pad.
Is it?
He's
gone.
Is it?
Yeah.
But is this the anniversary of his death, or is?
Hang on a second. Did he die? Came back.
Came back.
He dies on the Friday and he comes back on the Monday.
No, but when did he die the last time? When's the last time he died?
Yeah, Easter moves around, so it's like not a date, is it?
No, but what I'm saying is,
State of mind.
did anyone record his actual death, his last death, not his first
video?
Death? No, I mean, what did he ever? I've heard about his death and his, reborn and all that stuff. But but when did he actually die? Proper die?
I don't know what you're asking.
I don't know.
No, but where is Jesus? Where's his grave? Where's he died? When did he die? There's no record of him dying. Just rise.
He's not still alive, is he?
I think he was. I think he was in Get Back, that thing there.
Right.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Dave,
He moved to Somerset.
The Share Pickers Weekend Podcast with Justin, Paddy, Peter and Steve. The content of this podcast is not intended as investment advice. It is for information purposes only. People in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.